Ladies and gentlemen, if you desire to change the condition of your life, if you wish to attract wealth beyond measure, you must first come to grips with this eternal truth: riches begin in the mind. Before gold is mined from the earth, before a single coin is struck, before a fortune is amassed, it is first imagined in the fertile soil of thought. You cannot hope to hold in your hands what you do not first carry in your mind. Poverty, like riches, is a state of consciousness. If you think in terms of lack, you invite lack to sit at your table. But when you think in terms of abundance, opportunity, and prosperity, you open wide the gates through which unlimited wealth may enter. Wealth does not begin with a bank account, it begins with a mindset. The poor man who thinks rich is wealthier than the rich man who thinks poor. I have seen men with nothing more than a burning desire rise to the very heights of fortune, and I have seen men who inherited millions lose it all, because they never trained their minds to accept the discipline of wealth. Understand this: the greatest fortune you can possess is the ability to govern your thoughts, for thought is the starting point of all achievement. If your mind is filled with fear, doubt, envy, or resentment, you repel wealth as surely as oil repels water. But if your mind radiates confidence, expectancy, gratitude, and belief, wealth is drawn to you as iron is drawn to a magnet. I want you to imagine for a moment that your mind is like a radio transmitter, sending out vibrations into the ether. Those vibrations, whether of success or failure, abundance or scarcity, return to you multiplied. If you broadcast doubt, you will attract doubt. If you broadcast poverty, you will attract circumstances to prove that poverty is justified. But if you broadcast the clear, unwavering frequency of wealth, consciousness, opportunities will tune into your life as if guided by unseen hands. It is no accident that the rich become richer. It is not merely because of what they possess, but because of how they think. Their minds are conditioned to see possibilities where others see obstacles. Their minds are trained to expect gain where others expect loss. This is the first training you must undertake, to adopt the mental attitude of abundance until it becomes your second nature. Do not make the mistake of thinking that wealth is reserved for the privileged few. Wealth is a state of mind available to anyone who is willing to discipline their thinking. History is filled with men and women who came from humble beginnings, but who trained their minds to see beyond their limitations. They envisioned abundance long before it materialized, and in time, their external world caught up with their inner world. You, too, must dare to see yourself wealthy before the world will recognize you as such. If your vision does not extend beyond your present circumstances, you will remain confined by them. Many of you may say, "But I have no capital, no education, no connections." Let me assure you, you have the most important capital of all, your mind. It is not what you lack that holds you back. It is what you believe you lack. The riches of the universe do not respond to excuses. They respond to a definite state of mind. When you convince yourself that you are destined for wealth, your mind begins to attract ideas, people, and opportunities that were previously invisible to you. Train your thoughts, and you will find doors opening where once there were only walls. I recall countless individuals I have studied who built empires from nothing but an idea. What distinguished them from the masses was not superior strength, nor greater intelligence, nor favorable circumstances. It was a mind dominated by wealth consciousness. They believed so strongly in their vision that the world had no choice but to yield. And so, I say to you, riches are not created outside of you. They are created within you. The wealth you seek begins with a decision to think abundantly and to never surrender that thought, no matter what storms may rage outside. But let me issue a warning: it is not enough to casually wish for wealth, for wishes are weak. You must develop a burning obsession, a relentless conviction that you are destined to prosper. The subconscious mind does not respond to half-hearted suggestions. It responds to dominant, emotionalized thoughts. If your desire for wealth is tepid, your results will be tepid. But if your desire burns like fire, then even the coldest resistance cannot extinguish it. That is why your first training must be to discipline your thoughts. day after day, until abundance is not merely a hope, but an unshakable expectation. Ladies and gentlemen, poverty thinking is a habit, just as wealth thinking is a habit. And habits are not broken in a day. They are replaced through repeated, deliberate effort. Every morning, before the world lays its burdens on your shoulders, you must train your mind to think rich. Speak words of prosperity. Envision yourself in possession of the wealth you desire. Condition your thoughts until they vibrate in harmony with riches. And when the inevitable doubts arise, when the voice of scarcity whispers, "You cannot, you will not," you must answer with firmness, "I can, I must, and I will." Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you attract by becoming the kind of person who naturally draws it in. A man who thinks poor will squander wealth even if handed millions. But a man who thinks rich will multiply wealth, even if he begins with nothing. Therefore, ask yourself daily, am I thinking as a pauper, or am I thinking as a millionaire? For the mind you carry today is shaping the fortune you will hold tomorrow. Let us be clear, to train your mind for wealth is not to deny reality, but to create a greater one. It is not to pretend that difficulties do not exist, but to see beyond them. It is not to wish upon luck, but to align your mind with the laws of success that govern this universe. Every man who ever struck gold, invented an industry, or built an empire first did so by daring to think in terms of wealth when the evidence around him said otherwise. And if they could do it, so can you. So I challenge you today, replace every thought of lack with a thought of abundance. Replace every complaint with gratitude. Replace every fear with faith, for as you think, so you shall attract. Wealth is not waiting for some future day. It is waiting for the moment when your mind becomes fertile enough to receive it. Train your mind, and your fortune will follow. Ladies and gentlemen, wealth is not a mystery. It is a discipline. It is not outside of you. It is within you. Begin today to think rich thoughts, and soon you will live a rich life. The first treasure chest you must unlock is not hidden in the vaults of banks, but in the vault of your own mind. There and only there lies the key to unlimited wealth. Wealth does not stumble into the hands of the uncertain. It does not bow before those who drift without direction. If you would attract riches beyond measure, you must first take possession of the greatest law of success, the law of definite purpose. A mind without purpose is like a ship without a rudder. It is tossed by every wind, missiled by every current, and eventually shattered upon the rocks of failure. But the man or woman with a definite purpose is like a ship with a powerful engine, guided by a steady compass, cutting through storms and darkness with the certainty of arrival. The world does not reward vagueness. It does not pay wages to the dreamer who merely wishes, but to the dreamer who transforms that wish into a definite plan and pursues it with relentless resolve. If you say to yourself, "I want wealth," but cannot define what that wealth means, how much, by when, for what purpose, your desire is nothing more than mist in the air. But when you declare, with precision and clarity, "I will earn $100,000 within the next year by rendering valuable service in my chosen field," you have taken the first step toward bending reality to your will. Every fortune that has ever been built began with a definite purpose. Andrew Carnegie did not stumble into steel by chance. He declared with fiery intent that he would dominate that industry. Henry Ford did not drift into automobiles. He decided with a clear, unwavering vision that he would build a car for the masses. Thomas Edison did not accidentally create the electric light. He fixed his mind on the definite purpose of bringing light to the darkness, and in time, the darkness surrendered. You see, wealth is not an accident. It is the offspring of purpose. Too many people wander through life, like beggars of chance, hoping that luck will favor them, that opportunity will fall into their laps. But luck is merely the child of purpose meeting preparation. Without purpose, luck cannot find you. Without purpose, opportunities pass you by, because you cannot recognize them when they appear. Purpose sharpens your vision, so that where others see confusion, you see possibilities. Purpose strengthens your will, so that when others surrender, you push forward. Purpose calls forth the resources of the universe, gathering men, money, and circumstance to aid you in your mission. Now let me be plain. A definite purpose must be backed by desire, not by idle wishing. It must be something you hunger for so deeply that it burns within your soul. If your purpose is weak, if it does not stir your heart and quicken your pulse, then it is not a true purpose. It is merely a passing fancy. Wealth will not answer to half-hearted dreams. It responds only to the call of obsession. Your definite purpose must be written into the very fibers of your being, so that every thought, every action, every decision bends toward its fulfillment. I urge you, therefore, to take pen and paper and write with exactness the wealth you desire. Do not say, "I want money." Say instead, "I will accumulate a fortune of $1 million by the age of 40 by creating and delivering services that bring measurable value to the lives of others." Be precise. Be daring. Be exact. Then, fix this statement in your mind until it becomes a burning obsession. Read it morning and night. Speak it aloud with conviction. Allow it to penetrate the depths of your subconscious until your entire being vibrates with expectancy. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reveal to you a truth that few ever grasp. When your mind holds a definite purpose with faith, the universe conspires to bring it into reality. You will encounter people who seem to appear out of nowhere, offering exactly the help you need. You will stumble upon ideas that seem almost miraculous in their timing. You will discover within yourself talents you never knew existed. This is not magic. It is the natural law of cause and effect working in your favor. A definite purpose activates forces both within and beyond you. But beware, for indecision is the thief of wealth. The man who cannot decide upon a definite purpose is doomed to drift. He may dabble here and there, trying this today and that tomorrow, but he will never build momentum, never concentrate his powers. He spreads his energy like a farmer scattering seeds upon rocks, and he wonders why no harvest comes. Reaches answer only to the farmer who plants in fertile ground with careful intention, watering and tending until the crop is ripe. Your mind is that farmer. Your purpose is the fertile ground. Your persistence is the water that makes wealth grow. Think of the great river that carves valleys and turns turbines. Its power lies not in its size alone, but in its direction. When water is scattered, it becomes a puddle. But when it flows in a single channel, it moves mountains. So it is with your mind. Scatter your thoughts in 100 directions, and you will remain stagnant. Concentrate them upon one definite purpose, and nothing on earth can resist you. Do not be deceived into thinking that your purpose must be small to be realistic. Small purposes create small results. Dare to set a grand, noble, almost impossible purpose, for in striving toward it, you will call forth strengths you never imagined. Even if you fall short of your ultimate goal, you will still have achieved far more than those who never dared. It is better to fail at greatness than to succeed at mediocrity. Ladies and gentlemen, wealth answers to clarity. The man who says, "I think I want riches," is ignored. The man who says, "I will build a fortune by this means, by this date, for this reason," cannot be denied. The world respects conviction. It opens its treasures to those who know what they want and demand it with courage. Decide today what your definite purpose shall be. Engrave it upon your mind. Let no obstacle, no criticism, no delay shake you from it. For once your mind is possessed by a definite purpose, you become unstoppable. And so I leave you with this challenge. Do not leave your life to chance. Do not wait for fortune to find you. Decide who you are. Decide what you want. Decide the price you are willing to pay. Then commit every thought, every heartbeat, every breath to that definite purpose. And you will find that the riches of the world are drawn to you as surely as steel is drawn to a magnet. Ladies and gentlemen, riches are not the gift of fate. They are the harvest of purpose. Fix your mind upon your definite aim, and you shall hold unlimited wealth in your hands. The mind is both your greatest servant and your sternest master, depending on how you train it. And within your mind lies a workshop, hidden yet powerful, where the raw materials of thought are shaped into reality. That workshop is your subconscious mind. It does not argue, it does not question, it does not reason. It simply accepts the commands given to it and sets to work turning them into form, circumstance, and experience. If you would attract unlimited wealth, you must become a master craftsman, deliberately feeding your subconscious the instructions that summon prosperity. This is the power of autosuggestion. Understand this truth. Every thought you repeatedly impress upon your subconscious mind becomes part of your reality. Whether that thought is one of abundance or of poverty, confidence or fear, hope or despair, it will eventually express itself in your life. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses. You cannot sow seeds of lack and expect a harvest of riches. Your subconscious mind will always give back to you what you plant within it, multiplied. Therefore, it is your solemn duty to guard your thoughts as carefully as a banker guards his vault. For they are the currency with which you purchase your future. Autosuggestion is nothing less than the act of deliberately influencing your subconscious through repeated, emotionalized affirmations. It is the way in which you become captain of your own ship, rather than a passenger tossed about by currents of chance. When you affirm daily, "I am destined for wealth. Money flows to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources. I am a creator of value, and I am richly rewarded," you are engraving upon your subconscious the pattern of prosperity. And once that pattern is accepted, it begins to attract to you people, ideas, and opportunities in harmony with it. Ladies and gentlemen, do not dismiss this as fanciful imagination. Every achievement humanity has ever enjoyed, from the building of cities to the discovery of electricity, began as a thought planted in the subconscious. Thomas Edison saw the light bulb in his mind long before it glowed in the world. Henry Ford built the Model T in thought before it ever rolled off an assembly line. Andrew Carnegie dreamed of steel empires before the first factory was raised. Their wealth was not the result of luck, but of minds saturated with suggestion until their subconscious demanded its realization. But remember this, your subconscious mind accepts both riches and ruin with equal readiness. If you repeat to yourself daily, "I cannot succeed, I am too old, I am too weak, the economy is against me," your subconscious will accept that command just as faithfully as it would a positive one. It will seek out circumstances, people, and events that validate your belief. The man who constantly thinks of failure prepares a throne for failure to sit upon. The woman who dwells on scarcity opens the door for scarcity to walk in and make itself at home. The subconscious is impartial. It serves whatever master commands it most persistently. This is why training your mind through autosuggestion is not optional, it is essential. Every day, whether you know it or not, you are practicing autosuggestion. You are feeding your subconscious with the words you speak, the images you dwell upon, the emotions you indulge. The question is not whether you use autosuggestion, but whether you use it consciously or unconsciously. The man who lets the world feed his mind with fear and doubt is just as much practicing autosuggestion as the man who deliberately speaks prosperity into his life. The difference is that one is a slave to circumstance, while the other is the master of it. Therefore, I urge you take hold of your own mental diet. Speak aloud the riches you intend to claim. Write them down. See them, feel them. Let your words and images burn with emotion. Emotion is the fire that imprints suggestion upon the subconscious. Words spoken without feeling are like seeds scattered on stone. But words charged with faith, passion, and belief sink deep into the soil of your mind and take root. The subconscious responds most strongly when suggestion is repeated with intensity of feeling. That is why you must not merely whisper your desires. You must declare them with conviction until they become part of your identity. Do not underestimate the power of repetition. A single suggestion may pass through your mind like a cloud across the sky, leaving no trace. But repeated daily, affirmed morning and night, suggestion becomes a permanent fixture of your subconscious. This is why I instruct you to read your definite purpose aloud each day, to see it as already achieved, to affirm it until it becomes the dominating thought of your life. When you saturate your subconscious with wealth, consciousness, it will by natural law, bring that wealth into existence. Let me be clear, autosuggestion is not idle wishing. It is not sitting passively, hoping the universe will drop riches into your lap. No, it is the deliberate conditioning of your mind to such a degree that your actions, decisions, and responses all align with the attainment of your purpose. When your subconscious accepts a thought as reality, it compels you to act in harmony with it. It sharpens your instincts, heightens your awareness, and guides you toward the very opportunities that lead to wealth. It is as if unseen hands arrange the world to suit your inner command. Think of it like this: your conscious mind is the gardener, and your subconscious is the soil. The gardener chooses the seeds, whether weeds or flowers, and plants them. The soil does not judge, it simply grows whatever is planted. If you, as the gardener, choose to plant seeds of abundance, then your subconscious soil will produce abundance. If you neglect your duty and allow seeds of fear or doubt to be planted by others, then your subconscious will produce thorns and brambles of poverty. Train your mind, therefore, as a wise gardener, sowing only what you wish to harvest. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest men and women of history have all been masters of suggestion. They spoke their visions until others believed them. They declared their destinies until the world bowed to their conviction. They understood that words are not idle. They are the builders of reality. And you, too, must become a master of your words. Stop declaring lack and begin declaring wealth. Stop affirming limitation and begin affirming possibility. Stop repeating failure and begin repeating victory. For whatever you repeat with belief, your subconscious will eventually deliver. I challenge you this very day, take hold of the language you speak to yourself. Write down the wealth you intend to create. Speak it aloud each morning with passion. Carry it with you. Repeat it before sleep, for the subconscious works most powerfully during those quiet hours when the conscious mind rests. Persist day after day, until the suggestion becomes so deeply impressed that your entire being vibrates with expectancy. And when that day comes, when your subconscious has accepted wealth as its natural state, you will find yourself walking into opportunities you once thought impossible, meeting people you once only dreamed of, and attracting riches in ways that seem miraculous. Ladies and gentlemen, riches begin in thought, but they are cemented in reality through autosuggestion. Guard your mind, command it, direct it. Speak abundance until it becomes your truth. For the subconscious mind, once trained, becomes an unfailing servant, drawing to you all that is required to fulfill your definite purpose. This is the secret used by every great fortune builder of history, and it is yours for the taking. Train your subconscious with the wealth you desire, and unlimited riches will become the natural reflection of your inner state. No man ever becomes truly great alone. No fortune is built in isolation. No empire is created by the effort of one solitary mind. If you wish to attract unlimited wealth, you must grasp a truth as old as civilization itself. Riches flow to those who harness the combined power of minds working in harmony. This is the principle of the mastermind. Alone, you may be strong, but united with others who share your vision, your strength multiplies beyond measure. One mind is powerful, but two minds, aligned in harmony, create a third, invisible force far greater than the sum of its parts. This is the unseen hand that lifts ordinary men to extraordinary success. Consider for a moment how electricity works. A single spark may light a candle, but when many currents converge in harmony, they power entire cities. So it is with minds. Your individual thoughts, no matter how strong, have limitations. But when combined with the thoughts of others, charged with shared desire and definite purpose, they generate a current of power that nothing on earth can resist. It is through the mastermind principle that humble beginnings are transformed into fortunes, that impossible dreams are made practical realities. Think of the greatest wealth builders in history. Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men of his era, openly confessed that his fortune was the result of the mastermind principle. He surrounded himself with men who brought knowledge, vision, and strength in areas where he himself was not an expert. He did not try to do everything alone. He focused on his definite purpose, and gathered around him a team whose combined intelligence created a force so strong that it carved steel empires out of nothing. Carnegie once said that anyone who would accumulate great wealth must surround himself with men who are better than he is in specific areas. This is wisdom of the highest order. Ladies and gentlemen, too many people sabotage their own chances of wealth because they believe they must do everything themselves. Pride blinds them. Fear isolates them. They hold their ideas so tightly that they strangle them, never realizing that ideas, like seeds, grow best when planted in fertile soil and nurtured by many hands. Wealth is not born in isolation, it is born in collaboration. To train your mind to attract unlimited riches, you must train it also to recognize the power of association. Ask yourself, who do I spend my time with? Are the people around me lifting my vision higher, or are they dragging it into the mud of doubt and mediocrity? For your wealth will never rise above the level of the minds with which you associate. If you surround yourself with small thinkers, you will think small. If you surround yourself with critics, you will become hesitant and fearful. But if you walk with bold dreamers, confident builders, and men and women who vibrate with the frequency of abundance, then your own mind will expand, your vision will sharpen, and you will find yourself magnetized toward riches. The mastermind is not merely a meeting of bodies, it is a union of spirits. When two or more people come together in perfect harmony, pursuing a common aim, they generate a spiritual energy, unseen but felt, that multiplies their effectiveness tenfold. This energy guides decisions, sparks ideas, and inspires courage in the face of obstacles. Many of you may have already experienced this in a small way, the sudden clarity that comes when discussing a challenge with a trusted friend, the burst of creativity that appears when brainstorming with others, the courage you feel when someone else believes in you. That is the mastermind at work, and when cultivated deliberately, it becomes the mightiest ally of wealth. But let me give you a warning. The mastermind works in both directions. Just as it can lift you to riches, it can also drag you into poverty. If you associate with pessimists, doubters, or men without purpose, you will absorb their energy as surely as a sponge absorbs water. Their fears will seep into your subconscious. Their excuses will become your excuses. Their failure will become your failure. You cannot soar like an eagle if you surround yourself with turkeys. Therefore, choose your mastermind allies with care. Select only those whose faith is strong, whose purpose is definite, whose minds are saturated with wealth consciousness. Ladies and gentlemen, wealth is not merely the accumulation of money. It is the building of networks, the weaving of influence, the alignment of like-minded souls who combine their strength for a common vision. The richest opportunities will not always come from your own mind, but from the collective energy of a group united in harmony. That is why every great industrialist, every enduring entrepreneur, every visionary leader has practiced the mastermind principle, whether knowingly or unknowingly. You may say, but I have no circle of wealthy friends, no access to powerful allies. Let me assure you, wealth does not ask where you begin. It asks how you align. Even if you have only one friend who shares your vision, begin there. Build your mastermind step by step. Align yourself with mentors through books, with leaders through their teachings, with peers who are striving for more. If you cannot meet them in person, meet them in thought. Study their words, absorb their wisdom, and you will find yourself walking in their company. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between a physical meeting and an imagined one. It responds to influence all the same. Understand also that a mastermind is not simply about receiving, it is about giving. You must bring your best to the table, your ideas, your energy, your determination. A mastermind alliance thrives only when every member contributes, when each person adds value. If you approach others only to take, you will destroy the harmony that makes the mastermind powerful. But if you give of yourself generously, with the spirit of cooperation, you will in turn attract allies who give back to you in kind. This mutual exchange is the very heartbeat of wealth. Let me illustrate. Imagine a man who wishes to build a great business, Alone, he may have vision but lack organization. Another man has organizational skill but lacks capital. A third man has capital but lacks vision. Individually, each is limited. Together, aligned in harmony, they create a force that builds enterprises, generates jobs, and produces wealth. This is the miracle of the mastermind principle. It transforms limitation into abundance, weakness into strength, impossibility into achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, unlimited wealth cannot be attained by the solitary dreamer. It is achieved by the dreamer who understands the law of association, who gathers around himself minds in harmony with his own. Train your mind to seek such alliances. Train it to attract men and women who vibrate at the level of your definite purpose. Be deliberate in your choice of companions. Build your circle with care, and you will soon discover that opportunities flow through people. Riches come through relationships. Fortune favors the cooperative. Never forget the mastermind principle is the bridge between thought and reality. It is the means by which ideas are tested, refined, and expanded until they are strong enough to bear the weight of wealth. Alone, your vision may be fragile. Together, it becomes unbreakable. Alone, your power may be limited. Together, it becomes limitless. This is the secret that turns small dreams into great fortunes. So I say to you, examine your associations. Guard your company. Choose wisely the minds with whom you walk, for they are the architects of your destiny. Align with those who believe, who dare, who act. Form your mastermind alliance and meet regularly, whether in person or in spirit. Share ideas, inspire one another, strengthen one another, and watch as your combined energy attracts opportunities you never dreamed possible. Ladies and gentlemen, the road to unlimited wealth is not a lonely road. It is traveled by alliances, by partnerships, by minds united in common purpose. Grasp this truth, and you will hold in your hands the key to riches beyond imagination. Harness the power of the mastermind, and you will discover that wealth is not a solitary conquest. It is a shared creation, born of harmony, strengthened by cooperation, and crowned with abundance. There is a law in this universe as real and unchanging as the law of gravity, the law of persistence. And I tell you, it is persistence, clothed in unwavering faith, that separates those who merely wish for riches from those who magnetize wealth into their very lives. 1,000 men and women may start a journey toward fortune, but only a handful will finish it. Why? Because the majority surrender at the first obstacle. They fold at the first sign of resistance. They accept defeat as final. But the few, the rare few, who march forward with unyielding faith, no matter how fierce the storm, discover that persistence is the golden magnet that pulls unlimited wealth toward them. Think for a moment about the great builders of industry, the inventors, the creators of empires. None of them traveled a path paved with ease. Their roads were littered with failure, doubt, and ridicule. Thomas Edison, in his quest to give light to the world, endured more than 10,000 unsuccessful experiments. To the weak, such numbers spelled defeat. But to Edison, every so-called failure was a stepping stone, a refinement, a teacher. He persisted with faith that his vision was possible. And the world now shines with the fruits of that faith. Can you not see that wealth does not come to the faint of heart? It bows only before those who prove themselves worthy by their endurance. Now let me be clear, persistence without faith is mere stubbornness, and faith without persistence is fragile and fleeting. But when you combine the two, you forge a weapon so powerful that no barrier can withstand it. Faith is the fire that fuels persistence. It is the inner voice that whispers, "It shall be done," even when the evidence before your eyes suggests otherwise. It is the conviction that you were not created to fail, but to triumph. When you carry this faith into your daily labor, every obstacle becomes temporary, every delay becomes preparation, and every setback becomes the very soil in which your future wealth is planted. Ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you the truth: the road to unlimited wealth is not lined with flowers. It is paved with trials designed to test your mettle, to measure your resolve, to prove whether you truly deserve the riches you seek. Life will demand a price, and the currency it accepts is persistence. If you pay with weakness, you will be denied. If you pay with hesitation, you will be delayed. But if you pay with relentless persistence backed by faith, life itself will yield treasures beyond your imagination. Look around you. How many have brilliant ideas, yet never act upon them, because the first challenge discouraged them? How many start businesses, only to close them at the first downturn? How many dream of success, yet surrender when others laugh or criticize? They quit because they never trained their minds to persist. And herein lies the difference. Wealth flows toward those who, in the face of adversity, refuse to turn back. It flows to the man or woman who says, I will persist until I succeed. I will believe until I achieve. I will stand when all others fall. Oh, faith, my friends, is not passive. It is not idle hope. It is active, fiery, and alive. Faith demands expression through action, and persistence is that expression. When you walk by faith, you take steps even when the path is dark. You sow seeds even when the soil looks barren. You rise again even when the world insists you stay down. That is the kind of faith that attracts wealth. For wealth is not a reward for mere wishing. It is a harvest reserved for those who persist in belief and action, until their vision becomes flesh. Permit me to remind you of a simple, but profound truth. Every fortune that has ever been created has passed through seasons of failure, doubt, and despair. The winners are those who refuse to quit in those seasons. Wealth is not denied to anyone. It is only delayed until persistence proves your worthiness. You may stumble, yes. You may fall, certainly. But if you rise again with faith in your heart, each fall makes you stronger, each setback makes you wiser, each defeat makes you hungrier. And one day, the door of abundance will swing open for you, because you refuse to stop knocking. Ladies and gentlemen, understand this well. Persistence is not measured in days or weeks. It is measured in a lifetime. To attract unlimited wealth, you must cultivate the habit of persistence until it becomes the very fiber of your being. Train yourself to see beyond temporary pain, beyond momentary defeat. Train yourself to hold the image of wealth and success so clearly in your mind that no storm can wash it away. Train yourself to declare, if I must crawl, I will crawl. If I must walk, I will walk. If I must run, I will run. But I shall never stop moving toward my vision. That is persistence. You see, faith and persistence are not only magnets, they are also shields. They protect you from the poison of doubt, the sting of ridicule, and the weight of temporary failure. They shield your mind so that your focus remains unbroken, your energy undiminished, your vision unwavering. With such shields, you become unstoppable, and unlimited wealth becomes not a distant dream, but an inevitable outcome. So I say to you tonight, do not be among the multitudes who quit too soon. Be among the rare few who persist with faith until the very heavens bow in recognition of your determination. Wealth is already waiting for you. It is waiting for the one who refuses to surrender. Persist, believe, and continue to move forward. And in due season, unlimited riches shall be drawn irresistibly to you, for the universe itself cannot deny a mind fortified with persistence and ablaze with faith. Ladies and gentlemen, the world belongs to the persistent. And if you will not quit, if you will not doubt, if you will not falter, then unlimited wealth is not only possible for you, it is promised. The greatest tragedy of human ambition is not that men and women fail to dream of wealth, but that they dream only of taking rather than giving. Let me tell you with clarity, riches are not the product of greed. They are the harvest of service. Wealth flows, not to those who sit waiting for fortune's favor, but to those who make themselves conduits of value, instruments through which ideas, solutions, and service move to improve the lives of others. When you understand this law, you unlock the final and most powerful secret in training your mind to attract unlimited wealth. Consider this. Every dollar you will ever earn is tied to value delivered. A farmer does not reap a harvest because he wishes for grain. He reaps because he has labored to till the soil, plant the seed, and nurture the crop. The marketplace is no different. Wealth gravitates toward those who solve problems, who innovate, who give something useful, desirable, and lasting to others. The world rewards those who ask not, what can I take? But, what can I create? What can I contribute? What need can I meet that others overlook? Your fortune lies hidden in the answers to those questions. Let us think of the titans of industry. Henry Ford did not attract wealth because he prayed for riches or envied the rich. He became rich because he gave value. He brought affordable automobiles to the common man. Andrew Carnegie built his fortune not by begging the world for mercy, but by mastering steel production, lowering costs, and giving a backbone to modern industry. And let us not forget the countless innovators of our own era who have become wealthy, not by chasing money directly, but by chasing better ways to serve humanity. The lesson is clear: when you give value, wealth must come. It is law. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason most people remain in poverty is not that wealth is scarce. It is that their minds are tuned to consumption rather than creation. They ask, "Where can I get?" instead of, "What can I give?" But the man or woman who trains the mind to become a generator of ideas, a solver of problems, a creator of solutions, will find that money becomes a natural byproduct. The riches flow not to the taker but to the giver, not to the hoarder but to the innovator. Think of it like this: if you make yourself indispensable to others, if you develop skills, knowledge, or services so valuable that the world cannot do without them, you have placed yourself in alignment with unlimited wealth. It is not luck, it is not accident, it is the inevitable reward for becoming valuable. And let me emphasize this truth: your value is not fixed. You can multiply it. You can train your mind every day to learn more, to improve more, to contribute more. As you expand your capacity to deliver value, you expand the flow of wealth into your life. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a grievous error to think of money as the goal. Money is only a symbol, a certificate of value delivered. To focus on money alone is to chase shadows. To focus on value is to chase substance, and substance always brings its shadow with it. Train your mind to stop asking, "How can I get more money?" and instead ask, "How can I serve more people? How can I improve this process? How can I solve this problem better, faster, cheaper, or more beautifully than it has ever been solved before?" Wealth rushes to those who dare to answer these questions with action. You must also realize, my friends, that value is not only measured in material things. Sometimes the greatest value you can give is inspiration, leadership, encouragement, or vision. There are men and women who became wealthy by lifting the spirits of others, by teaching principles that ignited success, by motivating millions to see possibilities where before they saw only barriers. Do not underestimate the wealth that can flow to one who becomes a source of light in a world too often clouded by fear and darkness. Now, let me speak plainly: wealth is attracted to circulation. It does not linger long with the hoarder, the miser, or the selfish. It flows freely through those who understand that giving value creates more value. That contribution multiplies itself. When you give, you are not losing, you are planting. When you contribute, you are not draining, you are investing. The universe itself seems to conspire to multiply the returns of those who live as fountains of value. Train your mind to see every interaction, every problem, every opportunity as a chance to give more, and you will discover that riches chase you down. Ladies and gentlemen, the mind that is trained to be of value cannot be kept poor. It is impossible. For if you take everything from such a man or woman, if you strip them of wealth, they will build it again, because their mind is trained to produce, to create, to serve. This is why true wealth is never measured in bank accounts. It is measured in the quality of mind, the discipline of thought, the commitment to value. The mind of value is a factory of wealth that no force on earth can shut down. Ask yourself this evening, am I a taker or a giver? Do I enter each day with the question, how can I gain? Or with the higher question, how can I give? For the answer will determine the flow of riches into your life. If you wish for unlimited wealth, then discipline your mind daily to think in terms of contribution, service, and value. Train it until it becomes your nature, until your every action reflects it. Then, my friends, watch how opportunities, partnerships, and riches gather to you as iron filings to a magnet. In the final analysis, wealth is not something you chase. It is something you attract by the person you become. Become valuable. Become indispensable. Become a source of solutions, of hope, of progress, of ideas. Make yourself a living conduit of value, and you will discover that unlimited wealth is not a dream. It is a destiny. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will remember nothing else from my words, remember this: money follows value. Train your mind, discipline your thoughts, and commit your life to being a fountain of value to others. Do this, and you will find that wealth has no choice but to follow you. For the world always rewards, and rewards lavishly, those who give it more than they take.